You're now tuned into the fourth season of Atypical Voices in Our Time, the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, a media education company. Let's get it started.
That's AVIOT.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It is the AVIOT podcast with your gracious host, Jay Stokes. Nice to join y'all once again in my wife's closet where I'm recording from.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we have her cousin staying with us for a little bit, so I have to record in the closet. I think it's really helping for the sound quality, which I truly like, because in my office space that I work in right now, it's not really fully furnished, so I hear a little bit of an echo when I record. I don't necessarily like that, and in this closet it's just a whole bunch of clothes. So it really helps with the sound. But that was some lighter-hearted, that was a light-hearted just intro before we get into this tragedy that happened in Minneapolis recently. So we had a 23-year-old shooter who fired through the windows of a church that also operates as a school named Annunciation Catholic School. And this happened during the morning of Wednesday, August 27th. At least 2 children have passed away or lost their lives, and 14 other children and 3 elderly parishioners were wounded during this occurrence. The shooter died of a self-inflicted gun wound, and that always irks me when they decide to take their own lives, because you don't want to stand trial for your crimes. You don't want to deal with the repercussions of your actions, so you decide to take your own life. Ridiculous. And this shooter also reportedly graduated from the school in 2017. Just adding to this, this was reportedly the 4th deadly shooting in Minneapolis in roughly 24 hours. And we're all sick of it. We're all sick of it, because all politicians do, and some people out there who still advocate for guns being on the streets, is we offer our thoughts and prayers. Thoughts and prayers are not helping. Obviously, they're not helping. We've had the shooting at Uvalde. We've had the shooting at Sandy Hook. We've had several other shootings that have gone on even this year. There've been a whole bunch of school shootings that have happened, and it's really unfortunate. That's the most I can say about that, because y'all thoughts and prayers, this was literally at a church that operated as a school. So they were praying up in that school.
Damn.
Your thoughts and prayers are not working. Action is needed. And as we all can see, politicians are not going to act on this. Well, you have politicians that want to pass comprehensive gun laws. You have politicians who want to limit the guns that are sold to people who have no reason having these guns. I don't want to say people with mental health issues, because they get a bad rap. People with mental health issues aren't the ones over here killing people. I think these people are just evil. And I'm tired of mental health being used as an excuse for poor behaviors. Sometimes people are just not good.
That's correct.
Sometimes people just want to see the world burn. I'm reminded of The Dark Knight when Alfred was talking to Bruce Wayne, aka Batman, about Joker, the Joker character. And they were talking about, like, why is he just committing all these crimes? And Alfred said sometimes people just want to see the world burn. And there are individuals like that. Now, I know this shooter wrote a manifesto, but that's beside the point. Well, unless we're trying to get to his motives, right? But when I say it's beside the point, we should stop this from occurring in the first place. Where are the parents at home to take care of their kids and make sure that they don't get access to these firearms, or raise them correctly so that they don't grow up wanting to take the lives of others via firearms?
Yes.
Come on. It's ridiculous. And unfortunately, since politicians can't see eye to eye when it comes to these school shootings, the schools themselves, communities, have to find a way to police themselves and find a way to protect themselves. What do I mean by that? I mean, these schools, maybe you have to have people that are patrolling the school at all times. If not police officers, then volunteers. Now, I know people don't want to risk their lives for this, but hey, certain souls out there are brave enough to try and see things before they happen. Putting up cameras around the schools just to make sure you're monitoring suspicious activity. Obviously, we have the school shooting drills, which is very unfortunate. Back when I went to school shootings weren't happening like this.
No.
I do believe, to some degree, when you advertise all of these tragedies, it inspires other people to do the same. It's like people who take their lives, for instance. We don't talk about it often because, or when we do talk about it, there's always a tag that says, if you are suicidal, then make sure you talk to this number or you call this number or talk to this person, right? So a lot of times people don't even talk about people who are taking their lives a lot, or media doesn't advertise that because it might trigger other people to follow suit. And I feel that's the same way about these shootings. If you're listening to the AVIOT podcast on a streaming service, make sure to leave a rating and a review so we can grow our platform. And I do believe it's best not to release the names of these individuals, the shooters, I mean, or don't do it in a way that can be seen as praise or a way that could be seen as them having their name in lights. Because I know a lot of people, they commit these atrocities because they want to be seen as famous. They want to be seen. They want to be heard. They want to be listened to. It's ridiculous.
Yes.
It truly is. Other things that could be done. Now, I know patrolling schools. I am hesitant to say police officers should be involved because a lot of times police can bring more harm than good. They might end up targeting marginalized kids, like Black kids, Latino kids, and looking at them as aggressors for little things. Maybe they took someone's book bag. Now they're in handcuffs, right? So I think there is a practice that needs to be, there's a practice that needs to be adopted when it comes to patrolling, protecting kids, but also not criminalizing kids that don't need to be criminalized. So I'm just spitballing off the top of my head, but it's about time that communities and schools, unfortunately, you shouldn't have to do this, but they have to brainstorm. How do we prevent these things from occurring? Or if they do occur, how can we protect as many people as possible? But my heart goes out to those who lost their lives, their families that are affected. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's more than thoughts and prayers. Action. Action is necessary.
Yes, sir.
Maybe now that I'm back in the writing again, I could write a piece talking about some suggestions I would have. Obviously, a comprehensive gun law would be nice. It's ridiculous. Speaking of violence, I'll talk about this story. It's another act of violence. It's a lesser act of violence. So we need to get away from this heavy topic and move into something else. Cardi B is in a legal battle with Imani Ellis, a former security guard of a building where Cardi was visiting to meet with an obstetrician during her first pregnancy. Ellis claims that she and Cardi got into an argument in which she and the hip hop star started fighting, and Cardi cut her face with a fingernail and spat on her.
Ooh.
So this allegedly occurred, I think, back in 2018. So now Cardi B is on trial. We've been seeing clips about this. We've been seeing clips of this online, different aspects of the trial, and they've been viral, seeing Cardi's reaction, seeing her response.
You used the F word during that fight, didn't you?
Yes.
What other words did you use? Tell us in your own words what you said.
I said, bitch, get the fuck out my face. Why are you in my face? Why are you recording me? Ain't you supposed to be security?
Tell it to
Why?
her now. Go ahead.
Huh?
Say it again. Say it.
Objection, Your Honor.
You want me to say it to
I
her
want
face?
you to tell it to her face what you said on that day so she can hear it for
The
herself
objection
again.
is sustained.
Hey, Your Honor, do we have civility in the
Yeah.
courthouse?
Why don't we just take the temperature down a little bit? If you have factual questions to ask her, please do so. It's not the time to argue with her.
I tell you, the life of a celebrity is really something because people can go back in the Rolodex and sue you for anything. If this security guard was allegedly approached or hit by just another person, I don't think you'd get to this level, right?
Nope.
So it is what it is. I don't know whether or not Cardi did it, and I'm not going to be here speculating as to what she did or did not do. I know that she has been on trial before. People have slandered her name before, and she is not afraid to go to trial to clear her name, to say that I am innocent. I did not do this. So we'll see what happens. My prediction, though, it's hard to predict because Cardi is intelligent and she's not a fool, okay?
Nope.
Regardless of what you may think in terms of her dating choices, she's not a fool, okay? But I could see her walking away maybe See, my mind is telling me she might pay a little fine, she might pay a little fee, but then the other part of me is saying because Cardi B has won a lawsuit against someone else and they had to pay her, I could see Cardi walking away scot-free because the evidence is inconclusive. So it's a very interesting story. I want to circle back real quick. The tragedy that happened in Minneapolis, I never want to downplay that and I never want to make like it's not important. However, I do believe we have to strategize and move forward. Those who have been affected, they should pause and take a break, grieve, make sure they get the help they deserve. Those of us who are not directly impacted, it is our job to move, mobilize, and make sure this does not happen again
Yes, sir.
or limit their occurrences. All right. So that's why I decided to move on to Cardi B, a lesser act of violence, allegedly. Okay. But I don't want to say that this is not important. I just wanted to move on. And you all are listening out there. I can't have the whole podcast be heavy, especially when I'm going to do my part to plan and make sure I can help out whatever way I see fit. Speaking of controversial women, so the Air Force veteran Ashley Babbitt, who you all remember as one of the insurrectionists back in 2021, the one that ended up losing her life because she tried to storm she was storming the Capitol. And I think she was getting into another part of the Capitol before a police officer decided to take her life. Where was she going? I'm looking at it right now. I have it on my phone. The House of the Chamber, something like that. Yeah, the House Chamber. She was trying to break through the partially glassed doors leading toward the House Chamber, and then a police officer opened fire on her. She ended up losing her life. Anyways, she will reportedly receive military funeral honors because she was an Air Force veteran. Prior to this, during the Biden era, the decision was to deny her of these honors, even though her family requested this. Now the U.S. Air Force will reportedly provide these honors for her. Are we surprised? No, because this current president has praised her before. I think he recognized her birthday. He has also gone on Truth Social and actually talked about the officer who took her life doing his job, and he called the officer a murderer and said terrible things about him for doing his job. The fact of the matter is these insurrectionists should not have been storming the Capitol, and we see what color they were. If they were not that, if they were black, oh my goodness, it would have been a bloodbath.
Yes.
But you have all these white individuals that are upset and they're committing treason. They're trying to overturn the election. I don't know what made them think that would help them overturn the election, just because they were mad that this current U.S. president didn't get a second term during that time. Now, later on, he got his second term, right? So, whoop-de-doo, y'all got what y'all wanted. But you lost. But then again, I mean, listen, for this president to honor her, it falls in line with this country. We always honor criminals and murderers and villains. That's how this country was founded. There's no way around that. America was founded on pilgrimage. It was founded on genocide. It was founded on lies. That is the fact that's what it is. I'm over here because my ancestors were enslaved against their will.
Damn.
It is what it is. So I believe that this current U.S. president is just exposing this country for what it always has been and what it always will be. And people, I don't understand how you didn't wake up during the first presidency and see that this wasn't what it is and this ain't it. Especially after COVID came and took the lives of so many people, and it could have been prevented, or at least the deaths could have been limited. But hey, y'all love to cut off your nose to spite your face. You don't want to see marginalized people, aka black people, Latinos. We could throw in East Asians, we could throw in other Asians, we could throw in anybody who is non-white succeeding. So you decide, all right, I just want to see the whole country burn. Going back to my main point before, that Joker reference. Some people just love to see the world burn, especially if they don't get their way. So Ashley Babbitt is going to be honored and receive military funeral honors. Whoop-de-doo. Speaking of women, I wanted to talk about the singer Maya. So I only know Maya from this song Best of Me that she did with Jay-Z back in the day. I think that was a remix, but she's a singer. I don't know her for much more than that. I know a whole bunch of dudes be thirsting over her, but she was featured on the Hot and Bothered podcast with ex-video vixen Melissa Ford. Listen. I know there's more to her than just that, but when that is your claim to fame, that is what we lead with. Ex-video vixen Melissa Ford had Maya on her Hot and Bothered podcast, and Maya was talking about her decision not to get married or have children. She's expressed that she grew up in a family where her parents were divorced, and seeing their marriage kind of turned her off to it. She said a lot of filler words, but the main point that I got is that she feels loved and she feels whole without being married or being or having children.
All of these things.
No, they're
You don't hear
wondering how
anything else.
they're wondering how a woman as stunning as you are, that is the object of so many men's desire, and you probably have the pick of the litter, which is another thing that they assume.
Wow.
Yeah, girl, I know.
It's not even my focus, and it never has been.
Mm-hmm.
My mother's an independent thinker. I've witnessed a divorce, between my parents. I've witnessed all kinds of things. My father is a very attractive man. I've witnessed a lot of things. And it's also not been a safe place in my mind as a little girl. So I've always thought a little different. The white wedding dress, I was very fearful of those things. So I looked elsewhere and probably escaped too much in my work and keep going. But also, I think being independent has forced me to show up for myself and obviously family, friends, and this operation, because I have a mission and I have a vision, but it requires me to be gone. And so that's also very, very much fear-filled, knowing that if I have to be gone 95% of the time and my work calls for me to travel, that must be intimidating. And I also can't show up properly for my significant other.
I also looked a bit further, saw that she's been practicing celibacy for a certain number of years. So, okay, that's cool for her. But I wanted to dive into this idea of women choosing not to be married or have kids. When a lot of women say that, there is this big reaction. A lot of people have a problem with women saying, I don't want to be married, because there's an assumption that, oh, you just want to sleep around. And then women that say, I don't want to have kids, there's an assumption, oh, you're selfish. No, I think that is very selfless, because certain people don't need to be bringing kids into this world. A lot of people who have kids don't need to have kids. And another thing, marriage isn't for everyone.
No.
I love the fact that Maya was honest with herself and she is walking in her truth. Society conditions us that we need to be married, we need to have kids. Not everybody wants that, but they feel pressured into it. Not everyone needs that, but they feel that they have to have it because keeping up with the Joneses, or because society tells you you are less of a person if you don't have this. Women who choose not to be married, good for them. As long as they're not over here downplaying marriage or trying to make marriage seem like it's the worst thing ever, good for them. What I have a problem with is when people decide not to be married, but then they say marriage is just a piece of paper. It's not just a piece of paper. Marriage is work. Trust me. Marriage is hard work. And when done right, it is very fulfilling. When done right, you can build a whole bunch of wealth. When done right, you can change corners of the world for the better. Having another person with you who is equally yoked, or who at least is trying, sees you, appreciates you, honors you, and you do the same, oh, y'all can move mountains. Oh, y'all could build an entire civilization.
Oh, yeah.
So marriage is a great thing when done with the right person. Don't let these bad examples, Derek Jackson, turn you off. Don't let people fooling around in their marriages, people who don't take marriage seriously, turn you off. Marriage is a wonderful thing. But for Maya, she doesn't want it. Or maybe she might want it later on, but right now it seems like she doesn't want it. And as far as kids are a great thing. And I understand why people might think weirdly or think that women who don't want to have children are a bit odd, is because in order to make sure the world goes around and make sure that humans keep existing, women have to have children.
Yes.
Here's the thing. If some women don't want to have children, it's not going to stop others from having children. Children are always going to be born. People are going to sleep around. People are going to have slip ups and they're going to have kids. People are going to want to build families and they're going to find a way to still have children. That is going to happen. Some people love having kids. Some people love seeing little ones grow up into being adults. Now we have to do what we can to protect those kids. We got to make sure that they're protected in schools. We got to make sure that they're protected in the environments that they live and they are raised in. But for those who want to have kids, kudos to you. And those who don't, thank you. Because you know that you don't need to be a parent. And in a lot of cases, people that don't have kids end up serving as great aunts or uncles to other people's children. They end up being great role models for children growing up, looking to someone who is successful and doing the darn thing. So I appreciate Maya for sharing that, and it's her prerogative. I have no problem with it. With that being said, let's get into updates. Alrighty, so I'm happy that we're recording the second podcast episode this week, finally getting back on track. I put out the first podcast episode for AVIOT on Tuesday, but it was late Tuesday night. What I'm trying to do is build this audience back up again, but I know that you have to do it with consistency. I understand that. And my consistency has been off. I've been doing a lot, y'all.
Yes.
I've been writing. I have been reading. I've been doing the best I can to stay on top of the news and come up with new topics to give my opinion on. I know a lot of people are talking about this Nicolandria stuff and Ace speaking on that situation, thinking that it's fake. I was thinking about touching on that subject, but I already said it before. The craze for Nicolandria to me is weird. Y'all don't know these people, number one. And number two, for Black folk, I keep saying, no other group is going to go crazy for your kind, or I should say Black men being with their women like you are with Olandria being with this guy, Nick.
And now for a quick commercial break.
Hey guys, as you can hear, we are unapologetic in our opinions. We may be politically incorrect or possibly wrong, but don't knock us for being ourselves and saying what many are too afraid to admit out loud. Anyways, if you have any thoughts or questions about our show, email us at chemistryproductions@gmail.com. That's K3MISTRY productions@gmail.com. We'll be sure to address whatever you have to say.
They're not going to go crazy over that. And I think that's something to consider. Just leave it. If you like them as a couple, you think they're cool, leave it at that. The craze is too much. All right, I'm done with that. Regarding what I have been up to in terms of different topics that I'm introducing, I'm trying to get Ruining Your Faves back started again. Those who have been longtime supporters of Chemistry Productions, AVIOT is the official podcast of Chemistry Productions, know that I had a series, or I did one season of these videos speaking about different popular media, so a popular movie or a popular song, and I had my own breakdown of a theme in there or a breakdown of a message in there. And it's called Ruining Your Faves because I'm making edutainment or I'm educating you about a topic within your favorite art form. So I want to get that started back up again. Media lessons, I have paused on doing that because what I want to do is with the articles that I have been writing, the different media articles, I want to turn those into the media lessons, like kind of wrap that up in there, because since it's tough toggling or rummaging through all these different concepts, these different mediums, I figure let me streamline it and make it easier for me. So I'll be writing an article about a media topic, and then I will do a video based off that article, and that will be the media lessons. And at the end of the day, Chemistry Productions is all about education. AVIOT serves as an outlet for me to talk about things more freely and to just give you my voice in general. But I think that it'll be good to really stress the education piece. I think that's the point of Chemistry Production in the first place. We're a media education company. So I need to get back into the education. Now, giving my opinion on matters, yes, that's education. However, we got to start talking about theory. We got to start referencing studies. And that's what I'm doing in the articles that I have been writing. It's on medium.com. Make sure to check that out. And then making videos, that's a different form for people to learn. Some people don't like to read, unfortunately. More people should be reading.
Yes.
So I'm going to make a video And that way you can be educated on the topic. And maybe that will inspire you to read as well. All right, y'all, let's get into the topic of the day. So I spent a lot of time on this episode speaking about different issues involving women. Now I want to talk about the antithesis of that, men.
Wow.
Specifically, I want to talk about toxic masculinity. No. Well, this topic kind of goes within the realm or falls within the realm of toxic masculinity. Dana White is involved with UFC. He's the UFC CEO. So he has made it clear that the White House will be hosting a UFC match on the 4th of July next year. The president said that he wants to stage a UFC match on the White House grounds with upwards to 20,000 spectators to celebrate 250 years of American independence. With everything going on in the world right now, this is what we choose to focus on. With everything going on in this country right now, this is what you want to do? Come on. I understand relaxing, laying your hair down, but this ain't it. This definitely ain't it. No. But it's on brand. What has this presidency done that's within tradition? I feel like all tradition keeps getting broken over and over and over again. And hosting a fight at the White House, it's also on brand for America. You know, I talked about America, the principles on which it was founded, genocide, to be honest, raping, murder, stealing, lies, and deceits.
That's terrible.
So we're going to have a fight at the White House. It's totally ridiculous. Yeah, it's the topic of the day, but I don't really have much to say on this outside of it's on brand, and are we surprised? We shouldn't be.
Nope.
I will not be watching that fight. I think Conor McGregor was eager to be one of the fighters for this occasion, but it's ridiculous. It truly is. It's ridiculous. Just like all the atrocities happening in this country that are preventable, it is ridiculous. I don't have any other adjectives. So I hope you all enjoyed this podcast episode right here. Yeah, I'll probably make a video. I'll think about it in more detail. I really didn't have much time to think about that topic today. I was putting together this list. I said, let me record this episode right quick and have it out there. I really didn't have much to say. When I had it and I read about what was going on, all I could think was it's on brand and it's part of the course, and that's it. A UFC fight at the White House. Yeah, I know we've had entertainers there before, and it was cool. I know the Obama administration, we had the entertainment night, so people who are pushing back, they could say, well, that was there, so why can't they have a UFC match? Because there are bigger matters at hand right now. There are bigger matters at hand right now. This country is in turmoil. It always has something going on, but especially now, we have rights being taken away from women left and right. Gay rights are being stripped, or there's rumor of them being stripped. Gay marriage being one of them. I think one politician was even talking about taking away interracial marriage, if I'm not mistaken, or entertain the possibility of taking away interracial marriage. Clarence Thomas, are you listening? So I just think that that just rubs me the wrong way. That headline, there's going to be a UFC match at the White House. First off, we're promoting violence, and I understand America loves violence, but I can understand if you had a concert. Okay, that's one thing. Even though y'all spent a whole bunch of money creating this whole gold ballroom, but yet we don't have enough money to raise minimum wage, or it's just a bunch of nonsense. I don't want to get into politics right now, but hope y'all all enjoyed this episode right here. Make sure to comment, subscribe to this podcast, and we'll see you next week. Make sure to also tune in on Sunday for AVIOT Sunday Brew. I'm gonna try and do it in the morning this time, but subscribe to the Chemistry Productions YouTube channel. That's K3MISTRY Productions on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
So go a little something like this. That's AVIOT.